And good afternoon. My name is Ryan Belmore. I'm the owner and publisher of WhatsUpNewp. It is Wednesday, March 29th, just after 1:30 p.m. Mr. Frank Prosnich joins me. Frank, we are on the eve of opening day. How are you today?
Whoa, I got the wrong hat on.
That's it. It's always exciting for the first couple of weeks of baseball season. And speaking of, this just gave me an excellent intro. Today we have Newport School Superintendent Colleen Burns Jermain on. And Frank, I don't know if you know this, but we have some champions on Aquidneck Island, and some of them call Newport home, speaking of sports. And that is the RMR
Yay!
team.
RMT.
RMT.
Rogers, Middletown, and Tiverton.
That's it. I don't know where I was putting the other R.
We used to be with Rocky Hill.
Oh, that's why. That's where it's coming in my head.
Yep, it's a new partnership, and it's a great one. We're state champs. We love it.
And how exciting! I
Yep.
saw Coach Brad Reed posting some stuff, and congratulations to them. That is a just last weekend, so very exciting.
Yep, last Saturday, great game, one of the best high school hockey games I've seen. And kudos to the guys. It's great, great group of guys, and our rival. Portsmouth, they have a good team too, but
not good enough.
Wait, not that day. Not that day.
It's funny because, and this is Frank's conversation, but this is certainly something to point to when people talk or dream about what regionalization or what school systems working together or coaches or sports teams working together. Here's a good example of bringing the best athletes from each community, small communities, and putting them on the same team.
That's the irony. Our sports teams.
A great way to, it's a great way to start, because I know I used to work with a trainer who was a female hockey player, and she was coaching one of these coalition teams with I forget how many different schools, but it seems to develop in hockey rather than in other sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Hockey on Aquidneck Island is very popular. And for, I would say, probably all those players on both teams respectively, they came up through an excellent program, Newport Whalers. And that hockey program, I know my family's been part of that. And it's just an amazing program for the girls and the boys. So we're very excited about that. Next year, the Interscholastic League is going to make it a little tad bit easier for the girls to get together. We'll be able to take 4 possibly communities and join them together, where right now 3 is the limit for collaboratives and cooperatives. So we're looking forward to that, and maybe you're going to hear about the girls team pretty soon. So there you go. That would
be good. It's interesting. The things that I did hear was that there was at least a few years ago, a lot of concern about how the Interscholastic League was treating the women's hockey teams.
Yeah.
And it's good to see maybe a little more parity.
Yeah, I think because you had heard about that a few years back, and I know for here, our girls had to travel, I think, up to Lincoln for practices. That's a long haul. And so I think they have heard the wonderings, and so next year we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, excellent. Colleen, I wanted to switch to a different and very, very serious subject, and that's we've had another shooting at another school, and unbelievable that we lose little kids to a shooter. Can you reassure people how the safety of the Newport schools?
Well, yes, it's the number one priority of the school system, and we take it very seriously. For our students, staff, all our schools. We have an excellent relationship with the Newport Police Department. Interim Ryan Duffy was just here last week, and City Manager Joe Nicholson, he always keeps in touch on these matters, and we check in with each other on a regular basis. We have training in the schools, and the most important thing, as a matter of fact, in today's my weekly update that I send out on Wednesdays, just a reminder, like back in February, we started getting that swatting process, where that's a massive amount of phone calls come in simultaneously to different police departments at the same time, warning of some things happening at schools. And they've all, fortunately, they've all been non-credible. but we still go through the process no matter what. We make sure our schools are safe at all times. But if you see something, say something. That's the most important thing. Always be vigilant. I think these days you have to be vigilant no matter where you are. Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of the people around you, and just stay on top of it. Safety is everyone's number one priority.
Not asking you to go into details, but I'm presuming that the students are trained and are prepared as best they can for situations that might arise.
They are, and the unfortunate part is the children in today's schools are used to this. So we do go through drills. They do understand what the words are when we come on, whether it's shelter in place, evacuation, whatever the code word is for what we do. The children are great, and the staff know what to do, and it's almost second nature, which is a sad thing to say, but we are trained and we know what we're supposed to do, and we will keep up on that training as well. As a matter of fact, my leadership team yesterday, we just had a refresher, and we talked about next steps. And as I said today, I'm just reminding the community and reminding our families and parents how important it is that we all stay on top of this.
I was talking with a parent of two Wesley students, and they were surprised and a little bit upset that their kids took it all so much for granted, and that did not. Not so much that they didn't see the importance of it, but it was just part of what's expected in school today.
It is. It's a second nature, just like cell phones, just like technology. They grew up with it, and it's the world they live in and the world they came into. So as adults, we have to continue to do our best to keep them safe and to make sure we protect them as best as possible, but at the same time, have them prepared to handle the world we live in now.
Yeah, one quick reminder to people is that in Tennessee, where this individual was able to purchase 7 guns legally, there are basically no restraints for the purchase of firearms. You don't need a permit. You can. I don't know whether there are much in terms of background checks. It's different here, different in our nearby states, but it's. Had there been red flag laws or other things that existed in Tennessee, things might have been different.
You never know, but we will continue to be vigilant, and we will continue to take our training seriously and implement whatever we need to do at the time.
I've also read the constant attacks in some states on the education system. Particularly, it seems that Florida, it's nonstop. I saw where one college professor ended a conversation upon racism because one of the students objected in the class, and that ended it. I saw where somewhere else someone was fired because of what they were teaching. It just seems like every day, and there's something else that came out relative to DeSantis as well. Let me read you something from Time magazine that goes back to September, and I'm going to skip the first part, but I thought where I'm going with this is I'm wondering how chilling an impact this has on teachers, on educators, even though it may not happen in your backyard, it's happening somewhere else and is so prevalent, and also how this impacts the ability to be able to recruit and retain faculty. This talks about a parent who had some concerns, was able to raise it, and said, but the current parents' rights movement goes well beyond the usual channels of dialogue between families and schools, parent-teacher conferences, PTA meetings, and calls to the principal. The movement is an organized nationwide effort waged by advocacy groups, including Moms for Liberty, the Parental Rights Foundation, and No Left Turn in Education. Their aim is to activate parents to contest what is taught in the classroom, what books are available to students, and the professional authority of teachers, administrators, and librarians to carry out their work. This campaign goes well beyond a judicious effort to prompt reconsideration of controversial aspects of certain school curricula or questions of the age appropriateness of certain materials and narratives. Rather, its methods center on censorship and are chilling speech in classrooms across the country. And we read about that all the time. How does that impact the administration and the faculty in Newport? I'm sure it's a conversation.
Well, I guess not reading the entire article, I think what I heard was you have parents that are concerned about what's being taught in the classroom, and then there's a concern about limiting and restricting what is taught in the classroom. And I think, as far as education in general is about opening our minds and being able to learn as much as possible and as best as possible. We here at the school department have a very strict curriculum, so we follow our curriculum. It's approved by the Department of Ed, and we follow that curriculum. I think for teachers, when they read articles like that, I don't want to speak for them. I just know that when I hear you read that article, it's the good part is people are focused on education and public education. The other part is we need to come together and decide what is that really all about, and why do we advocate so much for public education in a country like ours, and why it's so important that we hear all sides to all stories. So that's all I can really comment on regarding that. It's not something we go deep into because we have a set curriculum. We have a RIDE that oversees the curriculums. And as a matter of fact, they put out a list of curriculums that are approved that are considered green curriculums as far as they meet the standards of the content. So that's what we do.
So I guess I'm wondering with all that, because I know that while we have people who fall into that category in Rhode Island, it's not something that is prevalent. But I'm wondering if this somehow, we know that there are projections for a lot of teachers leaving the profession. The NEA has said 50% is the number they use, which is hard to fathom. How does that play into that? And how do you deal with that relative to stabilizing your faculty?
Well, first, I'm going to say it's not new news. We knew, and I can remember being in a meeting in early 13, 14, where we were having discussions at the superintendent's level that the projections were showing nationwide that those going into the profession of education was declining. Those people that area was declining as far as how many were interested in pursuing that career. So we also knew, due to different changes, and I'll speak to Rhode Island as far as the pension laws and things like that, teachers and people who thought they would be retiring sooner are not retiring sooner. So they're staying on longer than predicted. So we have teachers right now that are just, here for longer than they expected. We have shortages as far as filling certain positions, especially in math and science. And as far as addressing the teacher shortage, the General Assembly has already passed both in the House and the Senate. I don't know if the governor signed it yet, but there's a law right now allowing the 90-day rule to come off for our retirees. So some school systems like Newport, we had the situation, we needed a sub to stay on longer. So we're grateful for that law. And I know in our larger communities like Cranston and Providence, they have people that they've had coming in because there is not any staffing to be able to be provided, and they're using retired teachers. So I think at the government level, the state level, they're helping us out in that area as far as those that have already retired, letting them stay on sooner. And for going forward in the future, I know for Newport, we have already started to take on implementing particular programs within our community to help to get more of our community members interested in the teaching profession. Our paraeducators, we instituted the TA to BA program. That means teacher assistants to getting a Bachelor's of Arts degree. And we're working with Salve Regina University, College Unbound, and and the Equity Institute as far as putting together programming that allows our paraeducators to become certified teachers within a certain period of time, while at the same time, we're trying not for them, we do not want them to bring on a lot of debt. So we have been working with foundations and community partners to help us in that way. That's the TA to BA. We also have a program we've started with, as a matter of fact, in my weekly, it'll be out today. It's with Salve Regina University. President Kelly Armstrong has been a big advocate along with her leadership team, working with our leadership team over here at the high school, as far as having our young high school students visit the college campus and learn more about the university life per se. We already do have a partnership with CCRI where our juniors and seniors go to those locations, hoping that some of them will go further their education. But Salve in particular will be offering scholarships for Rogers High School graduates. We're trying to make our parents and families aware of that, as well as taking a field trip. They'll be going down to Washington, D.C. with our teachers, the Salve, the Rogers High School teachers, and our students to go visit universities down there. And again, hopefully we're promoting, becoming a teacher, learning more education. So those two programs in particular we have. Their RIDE is putting on a job fair, first ever, so that we can post the opening positions. We already know if you're interested in coming to Newport and you're math certified, we need 4 math teachers, 3 for the high school and 1 for Thompson Middle School. And on May 10th, our group will be up at, I think it's being held, I can't remember. I'll get that for you. But that's going to be held where potential people that want to get into the education field, all the school districts have been invited to come post their jobs, post what openings they think they'll have for the even now or in the future. So we're doing that. The HR department here in Newport is being proactive as far as looking at different areas along New England and reaching out to universities and others to see those interested in education. Our biggest challenge, I'm just going to put it out there for Newport, and I'm going to say Aquidneck Island, is affordable housing. On a teacher's salary, unless you get a couple of roommates, it's kind of tough to find a place to live here and be able to afford it on a new teacher's salary. So those are the things we're thinking about. Those are the conversations we're having with our business partners, with other agencies on the island to how do we do this. So from our perspective, that's where we went into the TA to BA and focusing on our children in our schools so that we can build from our own community and bring back our children to serve in our schools.
I know that the affordable housing is a big issue with the mayor as well. So, and across Rhode Island, and exactly for the same reason, people think of it for that we're talking about low income housing, we're talking about a lot of workforce housing, and it's about teachers, it's about policemen, it's about firefighters, all of those people, and you'd be amazed at how many of them don't live in your community because they can't afford it.
Exactly, and that's what community is all about. It's coming together. It takes a village, and living here 24/7, you just become part of the fabric, and intuitively what works, what doesn't work, and you also know you need to be there for each other. So that's a spirit that comes from community, and that's why it's so important. So I'm confident and hopeful that the City Council and Mayor Kam Savaravong can pull this all together and put together some plans for us going forward, not only for people to be able to move here and live here, but for people to stay here. Yeah, that's huge. That's a biggie. So, families have been here for generations and they want to stay for generations.
Seniors are a big issue when it comes to affordable housing as well.
And we have the largest per capita in Newport.
Maybe I'm dating myself or something, or maybe I'm hallucinating. But there used to be groups in the high school, Future Teachers of America. Was that ever, or am I
I'm familiar with the name. I'm familiar with the name. I thought Future Teachers of America were volunteers that came in, correct?
I
They
don't
weren't.
know.
They weren't necessarily
recall.
students, were they? Okay, because we do have there is an organization similar to that it's called AmeriCorps, and the student teacher, young people that are interested in education, they put in a year or two. I know when I was in Providence, we had that group in, and they were great. They were really great. They started, they helped in the classrooms and they helped in the school building, huge asset. And at one point or another, Heather Ticktow, I was talking to when I first arrived in Newport, of bringing AmeriCorps down here. So we'll see.
So I don't know if this is, if it makes you feel better about the financial situation at trying to build the new Rogers High School, but looking at headlines and not reading through the stories, I think the city of Warwick, where they passed about a $350 million bond issue only a few months ago, are now wondering whether or not that's adequate money. And I think I saw something about East Greenwich.
Yep.
So it is.
And Johnston.
You're not alone.
Oh, I know.
How are we doing at Rogers?
We're actually, we've done our value engineering. The steel bid has come in, so we've already approved that. We're looking at electrical. The next pathway is the electrical, and we met with energy group just this past week. We're looking into fine-tuning that. The campus is amazing. The foundation, the forms are getting in, and for those of you in the construction business, the forms are being put in the ground now to get ready to lay the foundation for the new building. We're prepping for the demolition of for the old Rogers High School gym. We're going to have our programming out of that building by mid-December of this year. So our athletic director, along with our building principal, Vance, and Director Young, with David Hillel, our facilities person, they're all working together we're trying to regroup as far as where we're going to be putting our programming for PE, where we're going to be having our athletes practice, and what facilities are available. And just this morning, we're looking at some opportunities with shared facilities with Middletown and Salve Regina University. And we're working with a group called Mass Design, and they came down this morning, and they just have visited. They've done surveys with us and inventory of the facilities we do use now. And now what they did was they sat down with us today and interviewed us and talked about facilities, talked about the importance of sports, what is the mission of the school, and how does it support the students. And what we're doing with that is we then want to have a comprehensive review of the facilities that are on the island, well, I'll just say between the two communities and Salve, and seeing how we can better share, and not only better share, but improve the facilities as it is now. And I thank very much the Department of Management. They're allowing us to use the fields over at Fort Adams for our lacrosse team and for some practices. And because we're in this situation where we have no fields because of the construction that's going on, they're letting us use that. We've been my athletic director, Josie Shav's amazing. In only year 2, she's found alternative sites. Morton Park, we've been using the city parks as much as possible. But we will be looking for facilities where we can play our games, our basketball games, our volleyball, all of the rest for about a year and a half. So it's gonna be a while. And then we have a lot of planning to do. So and scheduling and working with the Interscholastic League. So there's a lot going on with the Rogers project. So it's not only the demolition, and it's not only getting the building built, it's what impacts the high school day-to-day operations, and simultaneously keeping as much as possible, as best as possible, those supports, those athletics, those programs in place for our kids as we go through this build. So we have the financial side, we have the building construction side, and the most important part is we have the student and the student life on campus while this build is going on. So those are some of the things we're looking into, and we're keeping our fingers crossed. We'll be creative and we'll find other alternatives for our teams and for our programming, our PE. Health classes, we can always use classrooms. That's going to take some juggling with our assistant principal, Mike Monahan, and Principal Vance, sharing of classrooms to have our health classes. But the other side of it, a very big part of high school life, is making sure we have those athletic facilities for our kids and places and spaces for them to be, and at the same time, convenient for them to get to and from. So,
is construction so far on schedule?
yes. Well, it's not on the original schedule. We've had some delays due to, we had to go back and look at, we had to do some value engineering. We had to change around some of the design because of the affordability of the design. But we're staying on it as best as possible right now. We do have weekly updates that go out. Our co-chairs are really good about trying to keep our public informed as far as what's going on each week on the build, and also what happens at our school building committee meetings, which we just had another one this past Monday night. They're usually Monday nights, 5:30, and we go between Pell Elementary School and over here on Rogers so that our neighbors can attend, and it's closer to their homes right near Rogers. We do have, right now we're having a delivery of dirt, and to make sure we have a good foundation for the setting, just for the pouring of the concrete. And so if you think about it, we have 26 trucks that come 4 times a day. Wow. To and from the site, which is a lot of trucks. And they've been cutting through some neighborhoods that, some of our neighbors are like, I got all these trucks. So we're doing our best, and we're trying our best to be good neighbors and to remind them of the routing they should do. Stay off Old Fort Road if you're paying attention. And, we're working on it. It's a day-to-day operation.
So with all this activity going on, what's its impact been on students and on faculty? Are they getting excited about this project?
I think it's fascinating to them because the site does change very quickly, very fast. And you look out the window one day, and 2 days later you come and you say, oh my gosh, look at all that. And the equipment alone. I know a lot of people have looked at just the sheer size of the trucks, the flatbeds, they're digging out left and right. And the amazing thing about how many more and more people are coming onto the site, that has really been something. I think the alternative bus route, which is right outside my window right here, and the new parking for the staff has been great. It's almost like you say to yourself, wow, we should have had the staff parking where it is right now. So that's been a Benny for them. They don't have to walk as far as they used to get to the building. And even for the students to get to the buses, it's right outside the door now. There's excitement. There's wonder, but life, we keep moving on. We make adjustments, and I can't say enough how grateful and appreciative I am of the staff, the students, and the families, because it can be confusing when you're trying to visit the campus, and it used to always be on Wickham, and our new main entrance is on the other side, Old Fort Road, across from the fire station. So that has, they've been good. Everyone's been adjusting. We've had our SAT exams going on Saturday mornings. Gilbane has been great about, we plan ahead, we share our calendars with them. They always give us a 2-week look ahead. So our staff, and we send that out to the staff here on campus so that everyone's clearly aware of what's going to be happening when. If anything unusual happens, Principal Vance and Ida Lavoisier, his secretary, have been amazing as far as getting that information out. And for our neighbors, If there's going to be a loud noise or anything like that, we always keep them informed. We'll walk around with flyers. We also have, they've called in and given us email addresses, et cetera. So we do send messaging out to them. So it's all about being mindful. It's a team effort. And it's not just the team that's building the building or designing the building. It's more importantly, it's about the people that are the building is being made for and for our neighbors and community. So
I realize we're time moves fast. Regionalization, I know you mentioned last time that there was a possibility of getting together again and having some conversations. Has that happened?
Yeah, no, it has not happened because of scheduling. And it sounds silly, but it's scheduling. It seems, and we can't seem to get everyone together. Everyone seems to be very busy. Right now, I'm hearing that we're tentatively going to get together the last week of April. It was going to be tomorrow. And then we had some members from one of the committees that really couldn't make it. So in April, the two school committees are supposed to be coming together. And then we're going to, have some discussions on what next steps, what are some things we'd like to look at, I believe, as the two communities. And that's all I know.
You've mentioned in the past a vision that you had at one point where, in fact, what some people were concerned about was this was more of an administrative merger rather than one of actually school buildings. And looking out into the future, that potentially there would be that regionalization of school buildings. Do you still have that vision? And has that cropped up at all in conversation?
It has not cropped up in conversation, but I will say, if you look very carefully at what is happening, we are kind of regionalization is taking place amongst our sports teams, amongst our after-school activities, some of our professional development. So it's almost like around the administration, it's kind of happening.
Is this new, or is this a continuation?
I think it's a continuation. It's a continuation. And I think it's like anything, if we keep the focus on kids and we keep the focus on the students, what is best? Perfect example is how we started this segment was with the hockey team. We have kids that want to play hockey. We have kids that are really good at playing hockey, but there aren't enough kids in our communities or at our public schools that can make a team. So our athletic directors, our coaches come together and say, all right, we got to do something. And just like the drama, we got to do something. The kids really are thirsting for this theater. We need to do something. We have a joint drama club. Wrestling, we want wrestling. How are we going to do this? We got a joint team. I think more professional development. Hey, our school system's looking at this. Hey, we both are growing EL populations. How do we work together on this? We work together. So I think slowly but surely around us, it's happening. I do think at one point or another, it may happen. I think it's just going to take a little longer.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of work. We've gone on for a little over half an hour, so I don't want to keep you all day.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty amazed. Are there things I want to make sure that we touch on everything you would like to get out this morning or this afternoon?
Well, I just want to remind everyone, especially Saturday night, we have the Newport Public Ed Foundation, the night run that leaves here from Rogers High School. And it's, I think it's one of the only few night runs in New England, if not nationwide. I don't know how many night runs there are, but we have that. That's a great, fun family event for everyone. Comes out, come out. They wear their costumes, they wear their Viking hats, they wear their flamingos and all their bright lights. But the night run is a great opportunity for everyone to get together and just have a good time. We are in the middle of RICAS testing. That started this week at Thompson. And ELA, English Language Arts, was this week. Then next week they have the NAEP. And then after vacation, Pell will have its RICAS for grade 3 and 4. And then we also have Thompson, and then the Rogers students will be taking the SAT and PSAT. This is really important. It's free. Parents need to understand that is free. After they take those PSATs and SATs, they have to pay for it. So that's why when kids take those tests, they should really put out all their effort if they're serious about taking the PSAT and SAT. And they're taken at school during school hours. So I think that's really important. And a new thing we're doing is during April break, we're actually going to have a boot camp for students working with the Boys and Girls Club as part of the initiative. I think it's the governor's initiative. Learning is 365 days a year. So we're going to do some ramp up programs for the kids so they can show their best when they take the test. And we're going to have a math boot camp this year at Rogers High School for our rising 9th graders. And I could go on, but Ryan's here, and that's always a cue. It's time to go.
Yeah.
I was just going to add newportnightrun.com. It is Saturday. You can still register. I saw a note from Matt Gray this morning. You have to register by, today's Wednesday, by tomorrow night.
Yep.
By Thursday night, you can still register. Of course, you mentioned it, but supports Newport Public Education Foundation. Great cause.
Yeah.
Only night run, definitely on Aquidneck Island. I think
right.
the only one in Rhode Island. So definitely worth signing up for.
Yeah.
Colleen, I wanted to clarify one thing with the SATs and PSATs. If they take it at the school, it's free.
Correct.
If they take it afterwards, it's not.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
No,
That's
just
why
wanted-
I don't think parents realize that, that how important that is. If they take it that day, some kids might be, oh, it's a practice test, but you can use that score. You do really well. You can use that score. The other thing that if we could get out there is Survey Works. I know it's another survey, but we are really pushing for our community, no matter who you are, whether you have children in the school or not in the school, students, teachers, parents. I took the survey. Take the survey because we really, really need your information. Whether it's good, bad, indifferent, we need to know how you think about the schools, what we're doing right, where we need to improve. We're going to start our strategic planning process very soon, and we want to hear from all voices in the community. It's very, very important. So Survey Works.
Lots
Go
of
online.
information this morning, Colleen. We could go
It's
on.
afternoon, Frank.
It's afternoon, Frank.
Afternoon.
I keep getting this confused.
I think you're in England or something
It
right
could
now.
be. It could be.
Frank
We
is
could
so
go
used
on
to
for a
being on
long time.
radio and mentioning morning all day.
That's what I do, right? So it's always morning to me.
That's right.
Until tomorrow, because it's the afternoon when my Orioles beat the Red Sox. But
Oh,
There we
fighting
go.
words there.
All right.
All right.
I think that's everything. That's a lot.
that's a lot, and still a lot on the table. But we'll get to that.
There
And
is.
thank
One
you,
last
Mr.
shout
Moore.
out. Every Wednesday, so today, communication comes out from you in your
Yes.
office.
Mhm.
If you're not getting it, be sure to reach out and sign up for it. Because
Please.
a lot of what the superintendent mentioned will come right to your inbox, and you'll get it every single Wednesday. We try to republish them when we get them on our website, but
Thank
it's
you.
also a great way. So
Yep. The other thing is, for the building project, every Friday, I think they're on number 82, the co-chairs send out an update and you get all the details on all the construction, all the projects. So if anyone is interested in that, they should also contact Kathy Nash and we can put you on that as well.
Oh
And
yeah,
we'll
we
give
need
you
to
all
get
the
on that
details.
one. We don't
Yeah,
get
that
that
would be
one.
great.
Oh, I'll add you. Don't worry.
All righty.
You're all set.
Well, Superintendent, we know you're busy. Your background is starting to look better slowly. It doesn't look like you're in a closet today. You have some art and some photos in the background. So we're slowly moving
You don't want to see the rest of the room. I actually am on a portable move around.
Okay. All right, Superintendent. Well, thank you for taking the time today.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
All right. That is Superintendent Colleen Burns Jermain, and we thank her for joining us.
Lots of
And,
great information today.
Lots of info there, Frank.
She is, she's one of the gems when it comes to superintendents. I have an opportunity to talk to a few of them, but she is very transparent in the work that's done, and there's no question about her dedication to the kids.
and joins us every single month. No questions asked. Doesn't ask what we're going to be talking about. If it's going to be a deep topic, we might tip her off so that way she can come prepared. But always answers anything we ask her. And starting in April, I believe in April, it might be May, we will start having the mayor on every month.
It's actually in April, I think.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I knew there was one date that didn't work, so
Yeah.
I wasn't. So the mayor will start joining us every month. Again,
Actually, it'll be the day after every council meeting.
Oh, perfect. Excellent. And one last plug, if you missed our conversation yesterday with Heather Holstrout from the MLK Center, you can find that on WhatsUpNewp.com. And we'll keep these conversations going. We have lots of them lined up.
I just an add, going back to yesterday's conversation too, it's really impressive to take a look at people who are so invested and into the work that they're doing. It's not a job, but it's a passion, and it's really fun to talk to them and to feel some of that excitement and enthusiasm.
And a topic for another day, Frank, but both people, both Heather as well as Colleen, are from the area. And they grew up in Newport, grew up on the island. And I don't have the answer right now, but I wonder how much that plays into it. Being from where you are working, how much that plays into the passion as well.
I'm sure it does. A lot of pride for sure.
Yep. All right, Mr. Prosit, speaking of pride, today will be the last day that the Baltimore Orioles have any.
Hold on a minute.
There you go. Well, all right, my friend. Well, we will talk to you real soon. And thanks for having this chat with the superintendent. We'll do it again next month. And between then,
fun. Thank you, Ryan.
Then we'll chat with the mayor as well as, hey, it's not long now.
I believe it's next week. We have someone from a suicide prevention group, which is really important.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Frank. All right. On behalf of Frank Prosence, as well as myself and all of us here at What's Up Newp, we want to thank Superintendent Colleen Burns Jermain for joining us today. If you missed any portion of this conversation, you can find it on WhatsUpNewp.com. You can share the link, watch it. I also, in just a couple of minutes, will add the audio so you can listen to it on the go as a podcast. Thanks for watching.